Hello, good afternoon. Wanted to make another video. Already made, I think, one or two this morning, and now I want to make another one. So anyway, you often hear, typically within the context of, especially the wealthy, for example. So if a person has money, let's just use Elon Musk as an example. Doesn't really matter, but anybody who has a lot of wealth. So if somebody has money like Elon Musk, the fact that he has a dollar means that somebody else does not have a dollar. In other words, it's treated like a zero-sum game. If person A has a dollar bill, then person B cannot have a dollar bill. And that's not the way it works. That is completely false. Now, having said that, I actually kind of wish our system was a little bit more like that. But having said that, right now, based off the small amount of research that I did, physical, actual currency, that you can literally hold in your hands, I believe it's somewhere in the range of about $5 to $6 trillion worth of actual currency. So that could be a dollar sitting in someone's drawer at home. It could be another dollar that somebody has in their wallet, or a briefcase full of it, right? Whatever. So there's approximately 5 to 6 trillion physical US dollars in circulation all around the world. Now, that's just physical currency. Digital currency is in the magnitude of about $21 trillion. So when you log into your bank account online and you look at your bank balance and you see, okay, well, I've got $2,000 in there. Well, that $2,000 only exists digitally. It doesn't exist physically. Now, you can make it exist physically by withdrawing it, or vice versa. You can look at your brokerage account, and your brokerage account might have several $100,000, but that's digital. It's not physical currency. There's no correlation between the two. So when you hear, typically it comes under the guise of, maybe they wouldn't admit it, but it's perhaps a little bit of jealousy, well, because Elon Musk is wealthy, I'm poor. It doesn't work that way. First off, Elon Musk probably would have trouble even buying his lunch at McDonald's on any given day, because he probably doesn't carry much actual physical cash. Now, his net worth comes in the form of his stock holdings. But that's not money. He hasn't made any money from it yet. That's just literally what the value of his holdings are worth. If he were to cash them all out, that's what he could get. So, it's a very divided topic, because on the one hand, people feel, well, the wealthy don't pay their fair share in tax. Okay. Well, on the other hand, you could literally tax 100% of everything over $1 million. So in other words, if you had $1 million in net worth or more, including Elon Musk and all the others, that would only fund government operations, a couple months, and then what? Now they've got no money left. So is it a case of, they're not taxed enough, or is it the case of maybe our elected officials just don't know how to keep a balanced budget and are spending way, way too much. So don't accept on its face value the fact that just because person A has dollars and person B therefore must not have dollars, it just simply doesn't work that way. Is our system unfair? Yeah, it probably is. But you know what? We imperfect human beings are probably, absent some great transformation, are unable to create anything better. I don't have all the answers. I do acknowledge that we have an imperfect system. However, here's another thought. May not be, it would probably never be really truly possible to test out, but let's just imagine you take, let's say, all the dollar bills in the world, which are not all owned by Americans, I might add, but let's just say you take all the dollars in the world and you evenly divide it amongst every American. So now literally the poorest person in the country is as wealthy as Elon Musk, because everybody has the same amount exact of money, okay? In 1 year, fast forward 1 year, so everybody started out with the same amount of money. What do you think will happen at the end of 1 year? I have my belief about what would happen at the end of 1 year. My belief is that the system will have largely reverted back to what we currently have. You're going to have a large group of people with no money. You're going to have a small group of people with a lot of money. And you might ask why. Well, was it because they were being unfair and they stole the money back from the poor people? Or is it because the wealthier people 1 year in the future have made wiser decisions than those other folks that now are broke again? It's probably more the latter, because money goes to where it's treated best. And you don't build a prosperous future by spending money foolishly, right? I mean, it's kind of unpopular because what I'm actually saying, long story short, the long and short of it is that ultimately some people are just much less intelligent than others. And that is the sorry, pathetic truth of it. And you would never expect somebody who is foolish with finances to be able to ever grow wealth. And likewise, just because somebody is foolish doesn't mean other people should be penalized. Right? It's not my fault that they spent their money on scratch tickets and lottery, Powerball. You know, it's not my fault. They didn't buy appreciating assets, as they had the same money as Elon Musk, right? They didn't buy appreciating assets. They squandered it. They went out and bought a bunch of junk food, or they smoked it, or whatever. They didn't buy properties. They didn't buy assets. They didn't buy gold. They didn't buy silver. They didn't do anything. They could have bought apartment buildings. They chose not to. And unpopular as it may be, you should not be punished for being wise with money. Again, some people are just not blessed with the the intelligence needed to grow and prosper with money. They just don't. I, on the other hand, I've already acknowledged it on this channel once or twice before. I don't consider myself especially intelligent. Not even a little bit. And maybe that's what actually gives me the edge, is I acknowledge that I have weaknesses and I don't know everything. I don't know. So what do you guys think about this? I know it's a very unpopular topic. You know, it goes to the core of what we are as people. It maybe seems kind of harsh. You know, and I've made a lot of mistakes, especially financially. I've definitely made some financial mistakes. I've definitely spent money foolishly. I've learned a lot of valuable lessons, but I'm nowhere near the investor I want to be. Not even a little bit. If I was, I wouldn't be working. So, with that being said, I'll close out this video. We're already at 11 minutes. I'm just heading to the post office. I got to mail off a package. And then heading over to work. And with that, I will close this video out, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.